Hello everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear. I just got home from running some errands and this was waiting in the mailbox. So I've got an unboxing to do. Without further ado, let's get this open and see what is waiting inside. Helping me open up today is, of course, my 10V PM2. Gosh, I love this knife. It's just fantastic. Let's get this sucker cut open. All right. Here. Wrap, that's a good sign. We have another Spyderco, of course, because I'm an addict. All right, in here, let's see if you can see that. This is a very special Spyderco Shaman. A couple weeks ago, I sold my Shaman, and I have been sad ever since because I loved that knife. And here we have got a couple of fun things. Card from Spyderco. Says it's a high carbon, high performance blade that is not rust resistant. I already know that because I already knew what I was getting. This is the TreeRex. I'm super pumped that I was able to snag one of these. I got one essentially like new in box, secondhand, and I'm so glad. Centering looks pretty good. It's rocking a Lynch deep carry clip. You can tell it's not an MXG clip, slightly different shape there, but really cool clip nonetheless. These scales feel really good. Now that I've got them in hand, action is everything you would want from a Shaman. Jimping feels good and aggressive. Ooh, I'm outside, so I might be losing some of these things in the wind. Yeah, this is awesome. My last Shaman was just the S30V black G10 satin kind of stone-washed finish, and I never put a deep carry clip on it or anything. And this is a big improvement. I can tell right off the bat. The finish on this Rex 45 is fantastic. That satin is just gorgeous. These Diamondwood or Rosewood scales feel awesome. They're not really any less grippy than I remember the G10 being. I thought they were going to be much smoother than the G10 was, but you can kind of feel the grain on here. It's not a super slick material, which I'm impressed with. I've already been toying with the idea of getting a aftermarket set of scales for this, so that may be coming. But wow, just wow, right out of the box. This is way cooler than my standard Shaman was. I really like this. I have a feeling even if I get a set of extra scales for it, I may end up swapping back and forth relatively frequently because this is really, really cool. Awesome. The seller included the factory clip, which he replaced, and an extra deep carry clip. I think this one is an MXG and this one is a Lynch clip. But what's great is these can go on multiple different Spydercos. So if I wanted to swap for some reason, this Lynch clip onto here, I could do that. If I wanted to go real deep onto this one, I could do that. The Shaman, you can see, has this 3-hole pattern, but the lower 2 holes right there are the same width as they are on the PM2 and Para 3, as far as I know, and it seems to confirm it that this Lynch clip is fitting on there. But yeah, for now, this is going to stay just like this. I think this spec looks fantastic. This bent titanium clip, making it a little bit more deep carry than my last Shaman was, is going to be a welcome change. This action feels every bit as good, if not a little bit better, than my previous Shaman was. This knife is awesome. Thing's a tank, and I'm super excited to start carrying it and testing it and using it and seeing what this Rex 45 is made of on the Shaman. The only other Rex 45 Spyderco that I've ever owned was the Para 3. And I've regretted letting go of that Para 3, frankly. I really liked that one. I called it my Pumpkin Spice Para 3 because it had the burnt orange G10 scales. And now Spyderco is doing a ton of sprints. The Native 5, the Para 3 Lightweight. I think they've done the Mannix Lightweight. All of those have come out in the Pumpkin Spice Burnt Orange and the Rex 45, but this is, to my knowledge, the only one in Rex 45 that isn't in that Burnt Orange G10, so that's pretty exciting. Yeah, I'm really pumped about this. This is a great exclusive Really cool Spyderco. I feel like this is a kind of a sleeper. A lot of people have been jumping all over Shaman sprint runs and exclusives, and I've been seeing them go crazy on the secondhand market. But I was able to get this for essentially, I think, even slightly cheaper than it was new from the dealer, and the guy threw in these 2 clips with it. So this is just an awesome, awesome mail call. I am pumped about this, really excited for it. So let me go ahead and get it in front of the camera for a quick second, just to be sure you're getting all of these details like I am. Get it up nice and close for some kind of micro shots. But yeah, there's the Shaman. All right, I've gone ahead and switched the camera around to my side. That way you can see this in all of its glory. This knife is gorgeous. Pardon my ugly thumb. I went into it with a kitchen knife last week. You guys may have seen some super glue all over my nail for the last few videos. Anywho, now that I've got it in this view, I can really see it there. Anywho, this is one of the prettiest Spydercos, if not the prettiest Spyderco I have ever owned. This knife just looks gorgeous. It's fantastic with these scales. Like I said, they provide more texture than I thought they were going to out of the box. This wood grain is like kind of tactile. You can feel it. It's not deep in any way, but it does have just that little bit of grippiness to it. It's also not overly shiny. I was worried it was going to be like kind of a polished finish on it. I've seen some people take some mineral oil to theirs, which does give it a really great shine, but I imagine makes it kind of slick as well. This satin finish also is very different from the S30V Shaman that I had. It was nowhere near this pretty. That one was kind of like a satin tumbled finish, if I remember right. I carried that knife so much, I should remember it super clearly, but I do not. I have a lot of knives pass through my hands. This clip, I feel like, really suits the nature of the knife. This whole kind of motif almost reminds me of like kind of an old school like Beretta or 1911 with wood grips, and then just like the stainless finish. I think it looks really cool. Backspacer looks great. Again, I think that's a different finish than my factory one was. You can see there inside of the scales, it is milled for some weight relief. I feel like this one is at the very least no heavier than my G10 one was, and if I'm not crazy, it might even be a little bit lighter. It just feels awesome. I think the thickness is the same. I imagine all the dimensions are roughly the same, although I have found out as I've been shopping for aftermarket scales that this one does have a different I don't know if the pivot hardware is different, but the way it is drilled in the scale material is different. The chamfering or the countersink or whatever you want to call it is slightly different in that one. So if you are getting aftermarket scales for this one, you have to specify that it is for the TreeRex Shaman and not any of the G10 Shamans, because this one is just that littlest bit different. Yeah, I think this is a really cool knife. I am stoked on it. Really happy that I pulled the trigger on this. Frankly, I was not loving my titanium M390 Paramilitary 2 that I had just gotten recently. I did an unboxing on that like probably not even a week ago. And I tried carrying that knife a couple of times. I shot a first impressions kind of review on it, and I was just trying to give it more and more chances. But at the end of the day, I just like the G10 Paramilitary 2 so much more. I may like aftermarket scales on a PM2 if there's something like micarta or carbon fiber, and there's a lot of good options like that that are still kind of lightweight and grippy, but that titanium one just wasn't doing it for me. So I put that up for trade, ended up getting an offer to sell it, and the amount I sold it for was able to easily get me this, and I even had a few bucks left over. So kind of a no-brainer to me to get this really, really cool exclusive Shaman, especially since I'd been missing my Shaman so much. It's a knife that made it into my pocket all the time. The way that the scales are contoured and kind of have this radius here at the edge compared to the PM2 and Para 3 carries so differently. I've always liked the native series, but I do not like backlocks, and so to have this kind of giant native with a compression lock is just kind of a dream Spyderco for me. And now that I can have it in Rex 45, which is a steel that I love, have had great experience with already, these cool scales, and just kind of a different motif than any other knife I've frankly ever owned. I don't own anything with wood scales. If you watch my current collection video, this will be the only thing in there with wood scales. It's possible when I was a kid I might have had a folding knife knife with wood scales on it, but if I did, it was a really cheap budget blade. So this is cool to have something nice in my collection with well done wooden scales, and it looks great. It's a different thing for me, but it's a welcome change. So yeah, I'll do a full review on this guy after having it in pocket for a little bit. Hopefully, if everything goes well and I can start getting on some trails again here in the next few days, that'll be up on the trail. But if not, you may have to bear with another indoor, or this one's in my backyard, but kind of tabletop knife review. Anywho, this has gone on much longer than I meant for it to, and that'll be my initial impressions of the Rex 45 Spyderco Shaman.